Thank you, Juliana. And Milan, thank you very much for your care in organizing this. And also Marty and Juliana, who have been serving as the Jikijutsu, leading the Zazen, as well as helping behind the scenes. And to all of you for being here together. It's a wonderful opportunity. Let us begin at the beginning. The practice of body, breath, and mind. Finding the right posture, position for your body so that it can be naturally erect, to stay clear and focused for long periods of time without too much strain or stress. The breath is a very good way to unify the body and the mind. As I often do, I exaggerate now to show. No need to force it, just give naturally the energy that you have, breathing out fully, breathing in fully. Through the nose, not through the mouth. The mouth should be closed, but the teeth should not be clenched tight. The body, the breath, and the most difficult and delicate part, the mind. To allow the mind through the body and the breath to rouse undivided attention, focus, concentration, undivided attention, fully here. You have all that you need. And now we have this precious opportunity, this great chance to practice together with proper guidance. No one can do the essential practice for you. You have got to do it yourself. But practicing together can be a great aid, assistance, help. I have already detailed the practice of body, breath, and mind in earlier Dharma talks, so I won't go into too much detail here. I trust you have listened to, digested some of those Dharma talks and put them into practice, confirm them for yourself. When all is said and done, there's really only one thing that needs to be done, and that is to give all of ourselves in the practice. And nobody else can do that for you. If you can't give all of yourself, nobody else can do that for you. If you can't give all of yourself, see where you are stuck, what you are doing wrong, and correct it. This is the value of a retreat like this and of proper guidance. You have all that you need. Now, give all of yourself. If the mind is split, wavering, you know you will just continue in the same old frustrating circles. It's up to you. Do you remember in those game centers, the whack-a-mole? In Japanese, I think they call it a mogura tataki. You actually pay money for this, and then a mole, an animal comes out and you whack it, and then it pops up somewhere else, and then you whack it there, and then you whack it there. This is not the way to practice. The way to practice is to realize that what you call self, what you think of as yourself, is split. It's wavering by its very nature. Not to think about it or even to understand it, but to realize it yourself. What we call I, me, myself, is inherently, by its very nature, unstable, wavering, without a foundation. Thus, it cannot come fully to rest in itself or in anything or anyone else. This is the opening of Buddhism. I urge you to see for yourself. Open up to this, realize it in all humility and sincerity, humble and sincere. Right there is where the real practice begins, with this body, with this breath. And with this mind in undivided attention. Undivided attention. If you're practicing properly, before long, a feeling of joy, not associated with some sensuous experience, but precisely from being, at least momentarily, free of any stickiness to any experience. This feeling of joy wells up from the depths of our being. Good, confirm it. This shows, in a sense, you are going in the right direction. Then just continue right on through. Undivided attention, body, breath, mind as one. To really live, to fully love, is this what we are here for? You might think, well, yeah, okay, I feel it, but somehow I can't do it completely. Okay, that's okay. You're humble and you're sincere. It's good as far as it goes. But you are still wavering, aren't you? There is still a moving away from this. See it. Recognize it. Moving away or moving toward something is no better. That too is a kind of wavering. A symptom, very clear, see it, of the split self. As I often mention in the classic Zazen manual, to simplify it a bit, quote, To find the pearl, calm the waves. With the water of concentration still, quiet, and clear, the mind pearl reveals itself. Again, from the classic Zazen manual. Quote, to find the pearl, calm the waves. With the water of concentration still and clear, the mind pearl reveals itself. But how, you might wonder, how can I do this fully? I cannot help but respond. How can you not? How can you not do this fully? In all sincerity and humility. But you're quite right. The deluded, seeking self can't do it fully. It's impossible because it's split. Thus, we gladly, joyfully give all of ourselves in this practice. Proper practice, very soon that joy starts to arise. The practice becomes, in a sense, irresistible. We cannot help but continue on. In the beginning, we may often feel a kind of resistance. Well, I want to do it, but well, I'm not sure about this. I don't want to lose myself too much. Huh? But as we give ourselves humbly, sincerely, and patiently with proper practice, it draws us in, it pulls us in rather than dispersing out into thoughts and ideas and hopes and expectations and so on. It pulls us in. It draws us in. That undivided attention becomes total. That joy bottoms out, in a sense, to the experience of what can be described as neither pleasure nor pain. It's not that you don't feel anything, but the experience is so total, so undivided, that there is no experience of pleasure or pain. I urge you to confirm this for yourself. The practice really is that simple. The practice is to stop. To stop escaping, running away. To stop escaping from this. Not moving away, not even moving toward. Right here and now, without abiding or getting stuck, without attaching to, even to some state of being or some awareness. No. Even that must be let go. See all the way through. Being itself, awareness itself, is still split. It's still a form of wavering, isn't it? See it all the way through. With this body, with this breath, and with this mind, undivided. When that attention is total and undivided, eventually it dissolves. It, in a very good way, just caves in on itself. Then the mind pearl I mentioned before reveals itself. It has been there all along, but now it has been revealed as what it is. I mentioned in the Rohatsu Dharma talks, the retreat in January that we did, a famous expression from the early Chinese Zen master pronounced in Japanese, baso. Quote, "The way needs no cultivation. Just don't defile, that is to dirty or stain." This is just another way of saying, give all of ourselves to this practice. That is the way that does not need cultivation, giving all of ourselves. If we give a little bit, well, you know where that leads. To try and keep the mind pure, to try to keep the mind undefiled, this is itself a kind of defilement, isn't it? Again, that's what Baso is getting at when he says, the way needs no cultivation. Just don't defile. A friend of mine, the scholar Griffith Folk, argues that the role of the Zen teacher is to have the last word, to pronounce the ultimate or final judgment. He's talking about this in the context of koan practice. Well, I must agree with Griff. This is true for unwavering pseudo-Zen. Yes, a Zen that is stuck to itself, perhaps its forms and traditions. Well, this unwavering Zen is really wavering, isn't it? It's no better than the wavering mind itself. It will not do. See all the way through. Don't be fooled even by Zen. Realization equaling the teachers cuts it in half. Only realization going beyond the teacher continues this lineage. This is a precious quote from the early Zen tradition. Hyakujo, in Japanese pronunciation, is the one who seems to have first spoken this way. And then it's also mentioned in the record of Rinzai, the Rinzai Roku, and so on. It shows what is required of a real teacher and a real student. Again, to quote, realization equaling the teachers cuts it in half. Only realization going beyond the teacher continues this lineage. Despite the statement of my friend Griffith Folk about Zen masters having to give the last word, a real teacher doesn't give the last word, doesn't need to pronounce the final judgment. What then does a real teacher do? Lets the other stand on their own. Out of compassion, makes the other stand on their own, naked and free of self, being without self together, without a thing, with everything. I'm afraid there's nothing more defiled than a Zen teacher. Now, with this precious time that we have together, let us get down to the real work together, the real practice. Again, you have all you need. You have a body, you have breath, and you have a mind. Let that undivided attention show you the way you must go to the very end, till there's not a trace. Then the precious pearl, the precious gem or jewel is in your hand. It is your hand, your heart, and all. I would like to leave some time for questions from out of the practice. But let me first mention tomorrow there will be a chance for one-on-one for those who have applied for it. For this, it's very simple. When we begin, you simply gasho, putting your hands together. I will do the same. We do this to each other. Then, if you're working on a koan, state the koan. If not, state where you are stuck in one short sentence. No need for background explanations. If you are not ready for that, simply gasho, and we will take it from there. We now have some time for questions, again, from out of the practice. These are not theoretical questions, speculative questions, but questions that come from out of settled practice, having given all of yourself. What then arises? This is a question, a concern that can be of value to others, benefit for all. So for the benefit of all, please feel free to ask. If it's clear, you should be able to state it in one sentence. If not, work on it. What is the nub, the essential point that needs to be raised? Then for the benefit of all, we can work through it together. Please feel free to stand up and stretch for a moment, and then we'll take some time for questions and discussion. Thank you all for listening so intently.
Leon Redler.
Yes, question, please.
Yes, Leo.
Jeff, my question concerns the difficulty I'm experiencing of giving all of myself. And what I came to this past week was having been reminded of the phrase in Vajrayana, Om Mani Padme Hum, I related that to your talk about the pearl reveals itself if you give all of yourself. And I was thinking maybe what I was lacking was a kind of, well, it's humility, but more precisely, uh, not fully being able to give thanks to the three jewels, to you, to the Sangha, to other teachers, to all the benefit I've had of teaching and of prayer. I always found prayer difficult. And so I thought, right, well, my koan is, what is it? Maza, what is it? And so I kind of tried to unite what is it with Om Mani Padme Hum, the jewels in the lotus, but kind of a praying to Avalokitesvara out, without and within, in the trees and the animals and the birds, and but also that pearl within that eludes me because of the lack of giving all of myself. So I thought I'd like to check this out with you, whether trying for that prayer and devotion, as I think I probably need, is a proper path for this particular ailment.
Thank you. Yes, that kind of gratitude, a feeling of boundless gratitude, is certainly something that can support us and help us on the way. But I think you also clearly see how you have all of these ideas and concepts and you're trying to fuse them. Throw them out, get rid of them. You don't need any of them. Stop trying to put all that stuff together. You'll waste your life doing it.
Even trying to give thanks more fully.
Really giving thanks, you don't have to think about all that stuff. Give thanks, let the tears fall from your eyes, but throw out all these concepts and ideas and money and the koans too, maybe. Get rid of all that stuff and see what finally remains, Leo. That's all. That's all. Quit generating more stuff. What finally remains when you stop generating all that stuff? You say, I can't give all of myself. Well, what are you doing right now, Leo?
Listening.
And I think you're doing it very fully, aren't you? Quit turning it into something else. Undivided attention right here, right now. Stop generating all these ideas. It just disperses you more.
Hi, um, I'm Michael Berg. I would like to ask, what can I do if sleepiness arises?
Wake up. If you're really, really tired, splash some water on your face. Come back refreshed. Have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. If you're still tired, maybe you need to take a minute. The point is the practice must continue on. It's not a matter of taking a break or not, but of the practice continuing through it all. We have bodies. We need to rest. We have minds. That needs to rest too. Yes. Don't indulge. Don't indulge. But if you're really, really tired, well, maybe you need to take a break. But there will be a time, and you know this, huh? When you just sit through. There's no question of being tired, huh? The one great matter of life and death doesn't get tired, does it? The body and the mind do, though. Be aware of that. Be aware of that. Don't indulge, but you don't have to torture yourself either, okay? Remember what we're doing, this precious opportunity. Yes, if you're a little tired, well, maybe you should push it this week, huh? You've made special preparation so that you can give yourself now, huh? Do. But make sure that you're not so tired that you later get into your car and cause a car accident. Huh? Don't indulge. Don't indulge. But let the practice continue on. When you take a break, let the practice continue on. You follow?
Charity, please unmute yourself.
Thanks, Juliana. Hey, hey, Jeff. My question was, do you see it more like wandering and then sort of finding a certain space, or is it more like you're actively trying to get somewhere?
Neither. The mind has to come to its own end, not find a space. And if you're actively searching, that's no better. The mind that is seeking for a space or whatever, that mind must come to its own end. That's the beginning of Zen practice. You know this in your head anyway, right? Now realize it in your body. This world that you're creating, let it go. What is this world when you don't create it in your mind? Have you seen that? You're very creative, right? Music, dance, and so on, huh? Do you carry yourself around with you when you dance? Do you dance with yourself, Terry?
Sometimes.
You don't need a space. The whole universe is at your feet. What do you need space for? And if you're going to chase after something, what are you going to get? What are you going to chase after? Huh? Something you don't already have? A better place? A bigger place? A calmer place? You see how all those can just become their own disease, can't they? The mind must come to its own end. Don't sit there and generate spaces and places. That's not zazen. Okay? The interesting thing is you're doing it in your creative acts, but to sit down and do it on the cushion can be a bit of a struggle, can't it? If you bring that mind with you, huh? You see what you're doing, you have to see what your mind is doing there. Do you want to say anything else?
Thank you.
You have what you need. Bring that creativity when you're losing yourself in the creative act into your zazen. You follow? It's there. It's there. You're not seeking anything, are you? When you're really creative, are you seeking something? You're expressing it. You're manifesting it, aren't you? Aren't you?
Hmm.
Sit zazen now.
Any more questions? Yes, Martin?
I just wanted to follow up on what Terry said and maybe present it this way. Is there an intention when you sit on the cushion, when you come to sit on the cushion?
No, but in a way, the value of your question, there may be a time when you need an intention when you get up from the cushion. But when you sit, you don't, that's the delicate part. Huh? You don't even need an intention. And people might then think, oh, well, then I'm just going to sit there and, Michael mentioned it, get sleepy, fall asleep. But that's
Could you say that again? You were muffled. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
okay. I hope I can remember. Um, what was it? What did you hear?
There is no intention. Maybe when you get up, there's an intention.
Right.
But
Okay. Okay. But when you sit down for zazen, it's so simple that you don't even need the intention. Now I'm going to sit and, for example, what Leon was saying, really perhaps give myself to this kind of, no, you're not giving it. So when you sit, you don't even need an intention. And what I want to say is that doesn't mean that it just becomes, you sit there and twiddle your thumbs. On the contrary, without intention, you are giving all of yourself. There is no opposing position. So, in a very literal sense, as strange as it sounds, yes, and you know this well, Martin, maybe that's why you're asking. You don't sit with an intention, even a holy one, huh? Or a compassionate one is already a step away. But when we get up from the cushion, the practice continues, but we may need an intention then. Yes, yes. And they are not two different things. Do you want to go further? I'm sure there's something behind your question.
So that resonates with me. When someone takes up a practice within the context of sitting, a koan, breath, is there an intention there?
There can be, certainly in the beginning, an intention to rouse the koan or to really give ourselves to the breath. Yes, but if we're doing it properly, eventually that very intention dissolves. The breath breathes itself.
Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your question. Thank you all for your questions and comments. I'm sure they're a benefit for all as well. Juliana, I went a minute over. My apologies.
No problems. Then we will take a 10 minutes break.